In 2025, more than 166,000 tech jobs have been cut globally. That's 620 jobs every single day. While you're watching this video, statistically, someone's getting that email. If you are in tech right now, you felt this. The anxiety, that refresh of LinkedIn seeing another open to work banner.
LinkedIn's data shows that job postings has increased by 3% since September last.
And if you thought tech layoffs in 2025 were brutal, then I've got some bad news for you.
Got breaking news this morning, massive job cuts at Amazon. Overnight, the company announcing it'll eliminate approximately 14,000 roles. This is the largest corporate layoff of the year.
In 2026, the layoffs aren't slowing down, they are accelerating. And while everyone says it's about AI replacing jobs, when you look at actually what's happening, that's just the surface level story, the one that gets the clicks. The real reason is much more calculated. And honestly, it's brutal. In this video, we are going to reveal the real reason why AI layoffs will accelerate in 2026. And a pre-warning, it's not what you think.
Well, there's certainly a sense that the job market is cooling a little bit. We know that hiring intentions are down a little bit as well, and that's consistent with what we're seeing on the Indeed platform. I think a lot of businesses are concerned around the global economic environment, which has certainly become a little less predictable.
Since ChatGPT launched in late 2022, tech companies have been in an all-out war. Everyone's racing to build the next breakthrough AI system, and the numbers are insane. Companies have committed $320 billion to AI infrastructure in 2025 alone. Microsoft $80 billion, Google $75 billion, Amazon $100 billion, Meta $65 billion. But here is where it gets interesting. MIT recently released a study that sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley. They found that 95% of AI projects are yielding zero returns. Not small returns, not breaking even, but zero. When a company invests billions in a project, they expect to either save money through efficiency or make money through new products. But 95% of AI projects are doing neither. They're just burning cash. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is on track to lose $44 billion by 2026. They charge $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus, but it costs them way more money than that to run the service. They are literally subsidizing every single user, hoping that they will eventually figure out how to make money. Even Sam Altman admitted that we are in a bubble. This reminds me of the dot-com era, but the stakes are much higher. Now, whether you trust Sam Altman or not is beside the point here. When the CEO of the leading AI company says that we are in a bubble, that should ring alarm bells. So what happens if in 2026, when investors start asking the harder questions, when patience runs out, when companies need to show profitability or literally anything for those hundreds of billions of dollars? They will have two choices: admit failure and watch their stock collapse, or cut costs dramatically to create the illusion of progress. The path of least resistance is almost always the same: more layoffs. This is where things are set up to take a turn for the worse. Because while companies are bleeding billions on AI, the stock market is hitting all-time highs. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are breaking records almost daily. So which is it?
The US economy right now is like a Jenga tower with 18 fucking pieces missing. We are one piece pulled out away from everything just toppling down.
Stock prices don't just reflect what a company is earning today. They are also about what investors expect the company to earn in the future. Investors see AI as the biggest shift in how we live and how we work, a technology that will reshape entire industries. Even though companies aren't raking in huge AI profits yet, investors are buying their stocks at a premium, betting that the future returns will then justify today's higher prices. In other words, optimism itself is inflating the market. The second is much more calculated and has to do with something called stock buybacks. A stock buyback is when a company uses its own cash to buy its own shares from the market. Typically, this is done because leadership genuinely believes the stock is undervalued. They think that the company is worth way more than the current market price today. So buying shares is a way of investing in themselves. The buybacks can also be used in a more manipulative way. Imagine you're selling lemonade, And instead of using your profits to buy more lemons or hire for more help, you just buy your own lemonade to make it look like there's huge demand. With fewer cups available, the price goes up, not because customers actually want more lemonade, but because you've taken supply off the table. That's what's happening with stocks. In 2024, regular investors, people like you and me, pension funds, and everyone else combined, bought $100 billion worth of stocks. Meanwhile, corporate buybacks totaled $625 billion, 6 times more than US. Regular investors. When companies buy back stock, they reduce the supply. Fewer shares available means the price simply goes up. It looks like the company is worth more. Profitability goes up, executives get their bonus, and everyone pretends that things are great. Microsoft is doing billions in buybacks while laying off 10,000 people. Google's buying back stock while cutting 12,000 jobs. Meta spent $30 billion on buybacks in 2024 while firing 20,000 workers. The money exists. It's right there. It's just not being spent on employees. And this creates what we call artificial demand. These record stock prices, yes, they're helped by AI optimism and companies like Nvidia showing record profits, but a big part of the gains is companies propping up their own value. Big tech has done this for years, and in a scenario where AI losses are too big or investors start demanding real returns, the artificial support just simply disappears. And when it does, the first thing companies will turn to, yeah, you've guessed it, more layoffs. Starting January 2026, companies will be forced to pay $100,000 per year for every new H-1B visa holder that they want to employ. This also includes anyone with existing H-1B visas who's up for renewal. You see, for decades, U.S. companies have used the H-1B to bring talented workers from other countries, mainly engineers from India and China. Companies love this program for 2 reasons. Firstly, there genuinely is amazing global talent. Secondly, these workers typically cost way less than U.S. workers. Under the new rules starting January 2026, the government's idea is simple. Make it so expensive to hire foreign workers that companies will hire Americans instead. Protect American jobs, right? But here is why I don't see it playing out that way. Those brilliant engineers who can't get U.S. visas anymore, they don't just disappear. If companies aren't willing to pay $100,000 a year for their visas, they'll just go to London, Dubai, Singapore, or any other major tech hub around the world. And here is the loophole. Meta can't hire an Indian engineer in California without paying $100,000 in visa fees. But Meta can hire that exact same engineer in the London office for half of the US salary and 0 visa costs. These companies already have offices worldwide. They already know how to manage remote teams. We proved that it works during the pandemic. So instead of paying massive visa fees, they'll just hire the same people in different countries. The irony is that the policy that's meant to protect American jobs is actually accelerating their elimination because companies will either move jobs offshore or make them entirely remote or even pay the $100,000 a year fee. Now, either way, I think American workers lose, and that means layoffs will accelerate. And that's not the only policy change affecting companies. There's another one: tariffs. A tariff is basically a tax on imported goods. When the U.S. government puts a 25% tariff on electronics from China, everything from that country will now cost 25% more. Every chip, every sensor, every component. Now you might think, good, that would force companies to buy American-made products. But here's the problem. Most of these components aren't in America anymore. They haven't been for decades. So that one NVIDIA GPU that cost $10,000 last year now costs $2,500. And that server that cost $50,000 now costs $62,500. Companies need thousands of these for their AI systems, which means they have to make up these costs somewhere else. They can't just raise prices too much because their competitors will undercut them. They can't cut AI spending or take less profits due to investor pressure. The same answer as always: reduce the headcount. In a recent survey, 58% of companies said that they're planning a layoff specifically because of tariff impacts. The policies meant to protect American manufacturing are actually causing American job losses. But here is where it creates a death spiral. When importing is expensive and hiring is expensive, companies have one option that gets cheaper every year: automation. AI doesn't need a salary. It doesn't need benefits. It doesn't complain about tariffs, so tariffs push companies to automate faster. More automation means fewer jobs. Fewer jobs mean more pressure to cut costs through more automation. It's a spiral that accelerates through 2026. Policies designed to protect American workers, visa restrictions, and tariffs are actually the very things accelerating their replacement. And that brings me to the AI productivity trap. Companies have made outlandish claims about AI, and now they are simply trapped by their own hype.
Startups are becoming pawns in the mega cap game of chess. Microsoft absorbs inflection.
The big organizational change happening at Microsoft around AI.
Amazon consumes adept.
This startup was valued at more than $1 billion. Now, most of the company is now going to Amazon.
Google and Character AI. Three of the biggest tech companies swallowing three of the biggest startups in the AI world without actually acquiring them.
The reality is everywhere you look, we see rapid concentrations.
They're quelling competition, poaching top talent, and skirting scrutiny, while regulators are still playing checkers. I'm Deirdre Bosa, and this week on Tech Check, the AI M&A fakeout.
So, they are firing people based on productivity gains that aren't fully realized yet, betting that AI will eventually catch up to their claims. By 2026, this narrative becomes impossible to walk back, and they'll continue firing everyone they can, forcing the remaining workers to somehow make it work. Now let me paint you two pictures of 2026, because either way, I think tech workers lose. Scenario 1, AI works. The investments pay off. AI delivers on its promises. It becomes significantly more capable than it is today, so what happens? Massive layoffs. If AI can do what companies promise, entire job categories disappear overnight. Customer service is gone. Developers are replaced. Project managers are automated. Data analysts are simply unnecessary. Companies that successfully implement AI will have dramatically smaller workforces. Millions of jobs will be lost globally. And the better AI works, the faster it happens. Scenario 2, AI fails, the bubble bursts. Investors realize that they've burnt hundreds of billions of dollars for nothing. The promised returns never materialized. So, what happens? Also massive layoffs, but for different reasons. When investor confidence collapses, funding disappears instantly. Stock prices crash. Companies losing billions on AI suddenly can't raise more money. They have to cut costs dramatically just to survive. This would be bigger than the dot-com crash of the 2000s. Back then, about $5 trillion in market value was wiped out. But the AI bubble is different. It's not just tech stocks. Banks have invested based on AI projections. Governments have made policy assuming AI growth. Entire industries have restructured for an AI future. When that bubble bursts, we're not talking about a tech recession. We're talking about a global economic crisis that starts in tech and then spreads everywhere. And in both scenarios, whether AI succeeds or fails, tech workers are the first casualties. If it works, you are replaced. If it fails, you're fired to cut costs unless they turn that money printer on again, obviously. So, what do you actually do with this information? Firstly, if you're in tech, honestly assess where you stand. Are your skills relevant? Is your role under threat? Just be realistic with yourself. If you're looking to upskill to protect yourself, here are a few areas that are exploding in growth right now. Cloud engineering, AI engineering, cloud security, cybersecurity, and ML ops. Here's something that might surprise you. The biggest opportunity right now isn't competing for a 9-to-5 job. It's the exact problem causing all of the layoffs. AI implementation. Think about it. Every company is desperately trying to implement AI, but 95% of projects are failing. They are burning billions with nothing to show for it. But why? Well, because they don't know what they are doing. They need people who can actually make this stuff work. And here is the thing. If you are already in tech, learning AI implementation isn't going to be that difficult for you because you have spent years learning new technology. AI is another technology stack. The difference is, companies will pay massive premiums for anyone who can successfully implement AI into their business. You can go from getting a yearly salary of $150,000 as an employee to charging over $1,000 per hour as an AI consultant. The old playbook of learning tech skills and applying them to a 9-to-5 is dead. Instead, while you still have a salary, start positioning yourself as someone who can solve the AI implementation problem. Pick one specific area. Maybe it's helping e-commerce companies implement AI customer service or healthcare companies using AI for data analysis while maintaining compliance. You want to find companies in your domain of expertise that are struggling with AI implementation. They've probably already wasted money on failed AI projects. Approach them with a specific solution. I will implement AI for this exact use case, and you only pay if it actually works. Then you want to document every implementation. Write detailed case studies. Build proof that you can do what 95% of projects cannot do, actually making AI work in production. And this mindset shift is everything. Stop thinking like an employee waiting for job postings and start thinking like someone who fixes expensive problems. But you need to start now, not after you get laid off.